Hello, it's Sisslin Verse, and today I'm going to be reviewing A Song of Wraiths and Ruin by Roseanne A. Brown. I got an advanced reader's copy of this book through Edelweiss. All opinions are my own. So I tried to come up with like a customized summary for this book, and I realized that the Goodreads summary really just did the job really well, so I'm just going to read from that for people who aren't familiar with this story. Summary reads, For Malik, the Solstasia Festival is a chance to escape his war-stricken home and start a new life with his sisters in the prosperous desert city of Zoran. But when a vengeful spirit abducts Malik's younger sister, Nadia, as payment into the city, Malik strikes a fatal deal. Kill Karina, crown princess of Zoran, for Nadia's freedom. But Karina has deadly aspirations of her own. Her mother, the Sultana, has been assassinated. Her court threatens mutiny, and Solstasia looms like a knife over her neck. Grief-stricken, Karina decides to resurrect her mother through ancient magic, requiring the beating heart of a king, and she knows just how to obtain one, by offering her hand in marriage to the victor of the Solstasia competition. When Malik rigs his way into the contest, they are set on a course to destroy each other. But as attraction flares between them, and ancient evils stir, will they be able to see their tasks to the death? This book is an epic fantasy set in a world that's inspired by North African and West African influences, and it alternates points of view between Malik and Karina. In this world, there's sort of a cosmic hierarchy by like magical power that you have. So at the top are the patron deities. Depending on the day of the week that you're born and you're assigned one, you have an affinity for one. And this is sort of like an astrological thing. It determines your strengths and your weaknesses and general personality traits. And then below them are the Grim folk. These are supernatural beings like nature spirits like the Obasum. And then below that are people and then animals. And there are some supernatural creatures in this story. So on the whole, I thought this was a very strong book. I enjoyed it. I definitely wasn't able to guess all the plot twists that happened over the course of the story. I thought the characterization was very thorough. Malik is sort of this timid, empathetic dreamer. He's very good at telling stories. And Karina is this sort of impulsive, irreverent, like showwoman, and she's a talented musician. So quite different characters. And I thought Malik and Karina were both narrators that I found equally compelling and interesting. When either of them was narrating, I wasn't like irritated and wishing like that the other one would be on. Like I thought that both of them were solid narrators. There's a lot of different ethnic groups in this world. It's not like a huge thing. You kind of just hear of them like once or twice. Like the main ones that we talk about are the Zorani and the Eshrins. But I wish I had the map just to kind of like have a reference of where everyone lived and what was going on, but the arc didn't have one. So Malik is Eshrin, and they're sort of at the bottom of the social hierarchy. And as the summary states, he is a refugee. He's fleeing his home country with his siblings to live in Zoran, but Zoran has very restrictive immigration policies and pretty much no Eshrins are allowed in. And he's trying to work around that. So in terms of representation, this is a world that's inspired by North African and West African cultures, and I felt like I definitely was able to see the influence. Like, I'm not super knowledgeable about it, but like things would come up and I'd like look it up online and I enjoyed it. But in terms of other types of rep, in terms of LGBTQ plus rep, I can't name any characters off the top of my head who like fell anywhere under the umbrella, but it's made explicitly clear that same-gender relationships are normal and like an accepted part of Zoran life, and that you can be in a same-gender relationship and like achieve positions of authority in the society. Like one of the previous sultanas was in a same-gender relationship. And I'm interested to see what else Brown is going to do with this, because I think I read in an interview that it was going to be more of a focus in her second book. And there's also some mental illness rep. Malik has a mental illness, and it's kind of interesting how that functions in the story. Malik has panic attacks and self-harms, and like that's something that like very clearly ties to our world, but like within his world, he can see the Grim folk. Sometimes everyone can see the Grim folk, like if they make themselves known, but for the most part, no one else can see them except for him. And so people in his society think that he like has some sort of like hallucinatory mental illness, but he's not. And sort of throughout, Malik is dealing with sort of his mental illness and also just like the trauma that he has endured as an Eshran refugee to the society that like very openly despises people like him. There's a point where he's passing as not Eshran because he kind of needs to. Like, they won't serve him in restaurants, they won't help him if he asks for directions, and so he sort of is grappling with that. Malik is shown to have a lot of strength due to how he's learned to cope with his mental illness. And just in general, I feel like Malik is a character who's very like centered and very kind in a world that doesn't really reward that for him. In terms of the romance, I'd say it's like a very, very slow burn, enemies to lover type romance. I don't think I started to see it until like the halfway point. I thought it was well executed. I liked the chemistry. And it's also just kind of like a relationship type that I enjoy. Where Karina's sort of like this emotionally illiterate, tough exterior type person, and Malik is more of like the tender character. In terms of like weaknesses of the story, there is a magic system in this world, but due to the nature of life in Zoran, it's not really present in obvious ways. So like Malik and Karina don't really know anything about it, and so the readers don't know much about it. And so it's sort of presented to us in like these info dumps, and then you don't really see anything about it until it's all brought back to this big reveal at the end, and that made it hard for me to keep track of certain things. There are certain like designations about like the cosmic order that I didn't quite understand. So blood oaths are really important to the story, and there's sort of like a thing you learn about blood oaths at the end of the book. Certain things around the blood oaths for me didn't hold up once this new nugget of information was introduced. So in terms of like where this book ends, we sort of have this arc that's complete. Like, it's not like just like a cliffhanger. We will definitely be getting more magic next in the series, and I'm hoping that we'll learn more about the other ethnic groups in this empire, and also more about the Eshrans and like why exactly like their immigration into Zoran is prohibited. I just sort of realized in talking over the Children of Blood and Bone, I think it's the Orisha series, that for me, when like writers create these worlds with like these new, social orders and stuff, I feel like they kind of fall flat when we don't understand who benefits from whatever like bigotry and discrimination is inherent in that world order. Like, for me, it can feel like something's like missing from like my understanding of the world, because like that's just how, real world discrimination operates, right? Like, someone benefits from that, whether it's just like an imagined benefit, like, oh, like I immediately feel better about myself because I'm not this social category, like without even having to do anything. Or it's like labeling this social group as inferior allows me to take resources away from them and like hoard resources for myself. And so that like materially benefits me in that way. And like right now, not super clear on who benefits from dehumanizing the Eshrans and who benefits from like barring them from immigrating into Zoran. So I'm hoping that that will be touched on more. Because Karina, as she's learning about these injustices, is just kind of like, this is wrong, like, why are you doing this? And I feel like at some point she's going to have to tangle with, why was I told this and why is this going on? Like, I feel like she's going to have to ask at some point who's benefiting from this and like, why am I just now like learning about this? That's what I thought of it. I enjoyed it. I would recommend it. It is coming out this Tuesday, June 2nd. If you like the video, please hit the like button. If you want to join the discussion, please comment below. Do you think you'll be reading it? Are you excited for it? What do you think of it? Or from what you've heard? And if you haven't already, please subscribe so you can stay up to date with me and my bookish activities. Thank you. Goodbye.